guys, it's Fee, and I am here for my 26 and 27 week pregnancy update. I am 28 weeks today, and I've had a bunch of stuff happen in the last 2 weeks I want to get you guys up to date on. So I've had a couple of doctor appointments that I'll tell you about, and I'm also going to start actually with my notes as usual, and symptoms and whatnot that has changed or stayed the same, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to jump right on into this. First thing on my notepad is something new. This happened, it started during week 26, and it happened a couple times. It wasn't every day. It was a nighttime thing, actually. It happened twice. It happened twice, and at that point I said, you know what, I should probably go into the doctor and let them know about this. For a lack of a better way of describing it, it felt like what I assume sleep apnea would feel like. I've never had that. I've never had anything even close to that. Never had to be tested for it, anything like that. I've never even been a blink on the radar with me. But I would wake up, and I would wake up on my side, so it wasn't because I was on my back, but I would wake up on my side, and it literally felt like I was waking up from lack of oxygen. I would take in this big breath, and then, of course, because I'm kind of half asleep at the time, I would start to fall asleep literally a couple of minutes later, and the whole thing would start again. First time it happened, it went on for about an hour. I tried my left side, I tried my right side. At the time, I had some pillows propped up underneath my feet to try and help with the swelling that I've been having in my feet that has not gone away. I take the pillows out, nothing helped. Finally, what I ended up doing is I have an adjustable bed. I have a Tempur-Pedic Ergo, and I ended up actually sleeping on my back, but I put the head of the bed up at a 45-degree angle, and that finally seemed to do the trick. Well, when this happened twice in a matter of a week, I decided to go into the doctor, and I called them, and then they got me in for just an impromptu appointment on the 21st. And as it turned out, there's 4 doctors at my practice, and I've seen 2 of them. I'm scheduled to see all of them for obvious reasons. But the doctor that saw me that day, I had never seen before. So I had no idea what to expect from him. As it turned out, he's pretty much just as cautious as the other doctors, which is kind of a good thing. But what happened, I was completely not expecting. He thought that perhaps it was the reflux that I've been having. I've had a horrible reflux from the very beginning. It has gotten progressively worse. And all I've been taking really is Tums because you know what? I've taken enough stuff for a while. If I can prevent taking anything that I don't need to, that's pretty much why I've tried to just use Tums. And he thought that it probably wasn't cutting it, that it's entirely possible that it was the reflux that was making me feel that way, especially since it was happening at night when I was laying down. But, big but, he wanted to make doubly, triply, quadruply sure that it wasn't anything funky with my lungs. So he wanted me to have an O2 saturation test, had some blood drawn, possibly have an x-ray, possibly have something called a VQ scan, which I'll get to in a minute. And bottom line is I ended up at the ER. I ended up at the ER for about 4 or 5 hours, actually. Long story short, everything ended up being okay. Everything with the lungs is fine, so I am now taking Pepsid about a half an hour before I go to bed, and it seems to be helping. But I will say a small episode happened again just last night, despite taking the Pepsid. At least I knew what to do. I raised the bed up, started sleeping at a higher angle, and unfortunately it took me a little while to get back to sleep, but it did work. Personally, I don't know if I think it's a combination of the reflux and possibly little boy is starting to push up on the lungs. I don't know. They did tell me that they felt that I still had a couple of more weeks before your average baby starts to, put his feet up in your lungs. But, every baby's different, so who knows. I will say that I've been feeling him kicking higher which is the feet because that's where my placenta is. So he is getting stronger. He has occasionally been kicking higher. A lot of times I really have to be paying attention, but I couldn't feel anything up in that area before. So I'm kind of noticing that on the days where I think he's kind of hanging out higher, I don't feel him as much. I feel stuff every day, but when he is up higher, I don't feel him as much, and I do feel out of breath. So not too worried. I think it may just be a combination of that stuff. The ER visit, though, I gotta tell you guys about this. I was fine with the saturation test. I was fine with the blood being drawn. I was even fine with the x-ray because, they put like one of those guards over the belly. That's fine. Then they say they want to do something called a VQ scan. What this ended up being was to make sure I didn't have any blood clots in my lungs, which, again, it's a catch-22. I'm happy that my doctor was cautious enough to test for that kind of thing because he knew I had MTHFR. Regular OB even knew what MTHFR was. I was amazed, let me tell you. But at the same time, the tests are a little scary when you're pregnant. Typically, they would do a CAT scan, apparently, and CAT scans really aren't viewed as safe for pregnancy. There are some hospitals that have started to do them recently in light of, new studies showing that they may not be that bad, but it's all kind of new. Generally, they don't do CAT scans if they can help it on pregnant women. Instead, they do this thing called a VQ scan, which is supposed to be safer, all right? This is where I get a little bit, I got a little bit annoyed, but it was kind of, okay, do I make sure that I don't have blood clots or do I skip this test? It was kind of one of these. I did end up letting them do this, but I don't remember what a VQ scan stands for, but it's nuclear medicine. Essentially, they have to inject your blood with gunk, nuclear stuff, right? And it's gone in your bloodline. So, of course, I'm like, well, that's bound to make it down to the baby, right? And then they take pictures. It's kind of like the best way to get a view without actually going inside your body. Well, I kind of freaked out, and the emergency room doctors assured me that this is normally what they do, that they've done it a zillion times on pregnant women. It has no risk of miscarriage, anything like that. But it kind of freaked me out. I ended up saying, okay, fine. When I went up to the area to have the test done, the tech that was up there happened to be a woman, and I flat out asked her, I said, how often have you done this? And she said, we do it all the time. We do it all the time, but if you're pregnant, we give you half the dose of the junk that they're putting inside of you. And I guess typically this scan would also require you to breathe something into your lungs, and they skip that also when you're pregnant. So that made me feel a little bit better. But yeah, it was definitely one of these, weighing the options kind of thing. In the end, again, my lungs ended up being fine. So at least we know that. But I have been having breathing issues. So it's just something we got to keep an eye on, and I'll get to that shortly. The rest of the stuff that I have written down for symptoms, again, all kind of newer stuff. When you hit the third trimester, or possibly right before, I don't remember the timing of this, your body starts to produce this hormone that I believe is called relaxin, which does exactly what it sounds like it does. It relaxes the muscles. And there's this muscle in the back of my leg, almost up into the butt area, that gets cramped up every now and then. I'll step on my leg the wrong way and it'll be like, oh, hang on, wait a minute, let me get my bearings. That just started over the last 2 weeks. So I have to assume that, more muscular things are going to start coming up. So that's new. The other thing is the wrists. I don't have my brace on. I know you guys are probably shocked because you've seen me with brace on in every single vlog. I just took it off a couple minutes ago. Occasionally I need a break. But the wrists and the hands are getting progressively worse. I know I had said, I think in the last one, that they had kind of leveled off. No, they haven't. The right, I can tell the difference between right and left. Let's try that again. The left, the fingers, these fingers are now constantly numb also. Before it was just the right, now both of them, from about here up, there's just this constant numb feeling. It doesn't go away. The wrists have started to hurt a little bit more. I've been icing them more often because of that. That does really help. Just as cold as I can take it, icing them. A lot of times I don't even put a towel between my wrist and the ice pack. That does really help. I have noticed that, when I'm working, I'm a programmer. This is not the thing for a programmer to have. I hit about 2:30 in the afternoon, and my hands and my wrists just start to get sore. And of course, my hands are also swollen. You guys may or may not be able to tell. I know I mentioned that in the last one also. That has continued. My hands are still swollen. I can kind of feel the skin when I do this, kind of not painfully stretching, but you can definitely feel that there's swelling there. So it's in my hands and my feet now. Other than that, I have started to get some of the nausea back. Random. Maybe about once a day. Can't really explain what brings it on. Most of the time it's completely random. The one thing that is not random, you may or may not remember, in the past I said one of the things that would give me nausea or give me kind of, I get dry heaves. I don't actually toss my biscuits, but I get dry heaves. That's what the nausea does to me. And in the past I said bathroom smells. That has come back. That has come back in full force. So interesting there. That did go away for a while. That's about all I have written down for the symptoms and side effects and whatnot. Everything else has pretty much stayed the same. That's the new stuff, the stuff that has progressed. Everything else is about the same. But on to the next doctor appointment. The real doctor appointment that I was scheduled for was my 28-week doctor appointment that I had last night on the 27th. And I was also supposed to have a gestational diabetes test that day. The lab is in the same building with my doctor's office, which is kind of convenient. Unfortunately, I kind of got my wires crossed with the lab, and I didn't realize what time they closed and that I needed to get there slightly earlier and drink the wonderful, charming drink you have to drink and sit there for an hour before they closed. So it didn't work out, and I ended up going for that this morning. So I went for my 1-hour gestational diabetes test this morning. Those results should hopefully be back tomorrow, and hopefully I will pass it, because if I don't, they'll make me go back and do the 3-hour one. I did not get the flat orange Tang stuff. I did get fruit punch. It was cold, so I'm sure that helped. But wow, I don't think I've drunk anything that sugary since I was, I don't know, in grammar school. It was so sweet, my God. I will say I kind of felt like it was on a sugar high for about 15 minutes, and then I kind of crashed. This was way, way early in the morning. I had to be up super early to get this done. So I was a little tired in the first place, so who knows there. But I will say that drink got baby boy moving like it was bouncy house going on in there for probably about a half an hour, and then he calmed down. So I will get those results tomorrow. But, another big but. When I went to the doctor's appointment, everything seemed to be going well. Again, it didn't appear that I had gained any weight. Though my fundal height was measuring great, baby was measuring fine, found the heartbeat right away. So we can only attribute it to, I'm trying to eat reasonably, so maybe I'm losing some of the bad stuff and gaining baby in the process. I don't know. They're not worried about my weight, but she started pressing on my legs. And I didn't even realize this, but the swelling is now in my legs. It's in my feet, it's in my hands, and it's in my legs. She was literally pushing with her thumb, and you could see the pitting. It would eventually pop back, but you could definitely see the pitting. And then I took my blood pressure, and it was, I want to say it was 140/88. Now, normal for me is like around 130/80. Not a huge difference there. But before I got pregnant, it was, I want to say like 128 to 125 over, I think, 80. I'm not good at remembering those numbers. But the bottom line is, over the last number of months, it's just ever so slowly creeped up every time I've went in. So between that and the swelling and the breathing, they want to scan me for the big P, preeclampsia. Not a happy fee. Not a happy fee. I don't have the results of that. I won't have the results of that for probably till later this week. So they wanted me to do a 24-hour urine collection. I am in the middle of doing that today, so I will drop off that charming jug with them tomorrow, and then they will pull my blood again, and I'll have to wait for that to come back. I really, really, really am hoping that I am okay, but between those symptoms, I just don't have a good feeling about the preeclampsia. The other problem I have is, in the past, I have done a urinalysis for nutritional purposes. And I want to say this was about 4 or 5 years ago. And at that time, obviously, I wasn't pregnant. And they found that even not being pregnant, my body tends to toss a little protein out there. I was told that I was protein deficient, which kind of attributes to my back problems because your discs are made up out of water and protein, most of. So I try and take in as much protein as I can. Speaking of which, the back has been doing great. The back, knock on wood, the back has been doing great. My chiropractor is thrilled, so hopefully that keeps up. But the protein thing in the urine, it kind of worries me what that test is going to result with and how accurate that is to spilling protein in your urine because of preeclampsia versus spilling protein in your urine because you're protein deficient. I don't know. I'm sure that's why they take the blood test and they look at a bunch of other things other than just the urinalysis. But yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm worried. I am. All this was just thrown at me last night, so I'm sure I will be fine with time. But right now there's just a whole lot of what ifs running through my brain. And I try to be honest with you guys, so there you go. Really, the first thing that ran through my mind was, okay, on the journey to get here, essentially, my husband and I failed every test that they had. So I was hoping that when I got this far, my body would figure out how to do one or maybe two things, okay, and I'd pass a test here or there. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe my one will be the gestational diabetes. Maybe I'll pass that one, or maybe I'll pass the preeclampsia one. At this point, I'd be happy with just passing one of them. I don't know. But I am worried. I am worried. All the different things preeclampsia can cause. Yes, it's great that they're screening me and they're doing this early to make sure we can track it and keep it on tab and whatnot. But, there's only so much you can do with preeclampsia. If it starts to get out of hand, the only cure is giving birth. And that normally can mean being induced early. Some people with preeclampsia can get lucky and go the entire time. I hope I land in that category. Like I said, there's a lot of what ifs running through my brain. A lot of them are probably kind of stupid compared to just, making sure baby is healthy. But again, I'm just being honest with you guys. I heard all that and realized, all the things that could happen and how we could end up being induced early. And then it runs through my brain that, okay, I just signed up for all these classes and I want to have the full experience. Who knows if I will ever be able to get pregnant again in my entire life. I want to experience it all. And now they throw this at us and who knows? Who knows? There is no way to tell the future on this one. But yeah, in retrospect, it is much more important to make sure that this is kept in track, kept on tabs, and keep DJ and myself healthy and get through this. And of course, yes, I am the master of jumping to conclusions. We don't even know if I have preeclampsia yet. Like I said, I'll know that. I should know those results later this week. So there you go. This is Fee spewing at the camera. There you go. That's about all I have to say about that. I'm just hoping and praying it goes well and that all of our plans kind of go as planned. Because the other thing I wanted to mention is I started doing some research, and I have found a doula that makes me really happy. And it just so happened this doula also does placenta encapsulation, which I am interested in doing. I want to do that. That falls right into the category of I want the whole experience. I want to do it all. And she also does hypnobabies classes. I know I've mentioned in the last couple of vlogs, I think I also mentioned it in the Q&A, that I was getting pretty interested in that. I wanted to take classes. I wanted to learn. I wanted to see if it's what I needed to clear this brain out of mine, of all of the fear and the drama and dramatic stories you hear about childbirth, and just clear it all out of my brain and be able to just calm myself, bring myself into Fee's happy place, and just be all right. Because I really, really want to try and go natural. I have no idea if I'm capable of that, but as far as I'm concerned, the more knowledge, the more power, right? So those Hypnobabies classes start this upcoming Sunday on August 2nd. It is a 6-class series, so the next 6 Sundays, that is where I will be. And on top of that, some of the hospital classes and whatnot will be starting up in a few weeks. I believe the first one that I have is actually the hospital tour, which I think is like August 11th or 12th. And after that, then all of those classes start up. So really, really, really hoping that everything stays well and we can experience all these classes and get all this knowledge in and whatnot. But I am super excited that my doula is kind of like a one-stop shop. She does the placenta encapsulation and she does the Hypnobabies classes. The great part about my doula being a placenta encapsulation specialist is all I'm going to have to do is sign off with the hospital that I want my placenta to be released to her, and she will do the rest. I don't have to worry about them giving it to me and her coming to my house, and she just does it all, which is awesome. So that makes me happy that I have gotten all of that straightened out and down. And that's it. I hit the end of my list. And it's not 30 minutes yet. I said this was going to be a short vlog, but it's not. I said that to myself before I started this because I have not slept well in the last couple of nights at all. It's probably why I'm rambling. I don't know if you guys have noticed. Rambling a little bit more than normal. So I figured, hey, I'll make this short, sweet, and to the point, and then I'll be able to go have a date with my couch and my pillow. And here I am, I'm still talking. Okay, so that's it. Last time I forgot to put bump shots on the end of this. I will tack those on to the very end, promise. And I will be back with another Preggie update, possibly next week, just so I can tell you guys what the results of all these tests are. I don't want you guys to have to wait for 2 weeks. So I may do a quick update next week so you guys know what has happened. And I will talk to you guys then. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting. Thank you for commenting. And those of you who are out there still trying, I'm watching your videos. You guys know who you are. You're in my prayers. You're in my thoughts. There's a couple of you that have had some not so good experiences in the last couple of weeks. You guys are definitely in my prayers. I'm not going to mention names. You guys know who you are. Some of you are YouTubers. Some of you aren't. Praying, praying, praying. And all your times are coming. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Keep believing. Keep expecting those miracles. I will talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye.